Okay, welcome to both Tatiana and Ro. Tatiana, can you tell us a little bit about your organization's mission and what encouraged you to get this all started?
Yeah, definitely. So our organization's mission, it focuses on pretty much working with teenage girls, helping them with mental health awareness, career professional development, and also educational involvement. So where we're pretty much having a study hall and checking on their grades and just kind of making sure they're excelling in school.
Awesome. And how long have you guys been working on this?
So I launched this organization. We started in 2018, of August of 2018. Yeah.
It's nice. So super young, right? So definitely
Yeah.
just getting the ball rolling. Was there anything in your life or anything that encouraged you to create this organization, a need that you saw or something personal?
Definitely a need. When I lived in Baltimore, I was working as an engineer full time, and I felt like I wasn't getting into schools enough. And one day I went into school, and just being from Chicago originally, it was a lot to see young girls fighting each other. You know, you walk in a school building and you think they're there to learn, but they're fighting. And so that was one of the reasons I just really wanted to do this. Like, you just can't ignore things after you see sites like that.
Absolutely. As a public school kid myself, off the Camden waterfront, South Philly area, I can relate to that. They almost didn't let us go on any school trips and they kind of sat us all down and said, you have to get your acts together, right? And what we need is what you're doing, which is mentorship, right? We need somebody to
Exactly.
show us all the way, right? And so tell us a little bit about how you came up with the name.
The name, I think I pretty much just put some words together and like, what is the goal of everything? It wasn't really long. And first it was going to be made, but then I found an organization that had that acronym because I was just going to be like making a difference everywhere. But then I targeted more like girls because I knew I wanted to work with girls. So then that's where kind of like the saving, adolescent girls everywhere came from. But it wasn't really hard to come up with the name.
Yeah, awesome. So again, for everybody, saving adolescent girls everywhere. So powerful, so beautiful. I love that. Do you
Thank
want to
you.
tell us maybe a little bit about what challenges you guys have been facing lately?
As far as challenges, we're newer to the Raleigh area. So overall, I would say maybe just because we're getting started and learning the demographic a little bit more, you always have a little bit of trouble with the transportation piece of making sure
Mhm.
you're scheduling and getting the girls where they need to be. And even grant funding. I mean, we're new here. So I think we kind of just have to do the work first to see more funds come in to support, our mission.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something that we all struggle with as young nonprofits. Obviously, funding is key. If anybody is listening here today and knows of any grants, programs, or such that might be interested in supporting Sage Girls, please reach out to either of us. I'll leave my information at the bottom. So, for either of you, Tatiana or Ro, can you share maybe a recent success story or any accomplishments, anything that your organization has done recently that you feel really proud of?
A recent success, I would say when I had went back to school because I was wrongly accused for something that I didn't do, and it almost cost me a lot in school.
That's a
But we
huge
did.
success.
Um, my mom reached out to coach, and she did help me get back into school. And now I went back to school, and I got straight A's, and I'm on LA honor roll, and I passed most all my exams.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you feel like, when they reached out and started working with you, do you feel like you immediately felt like embraced? Do you felt like you came into like a home a little bit, or you felt like you had the support maybe that you needed?
I was already in the program, but
Great.
well, yeah, I was already in the program, but when coach helped me, it was like I knew I was gonna get back in school
Hmm.
because she don't stop. She don't.
Yeah, yeah. She's here for you guys, right? So, you know, as far as the idea, to me, that's like ultimate success, right? Like leading a student, back to school, providing a path, feeling supported, right? Like what are some things that you guys would know that you would say like, hey, we're being really successful right now, or what would you call success for your nonprofit?
Success, I mean, even results like Rose, that's especially why I have her on this podcast today, because just the amount of growth that she's shown in so little bit of time, I mean, realistically, we got her with a little bit of an attitude and a little bit of a guard up, and, it's a 360. So being wrongly accused and being put out of school and to come back, and get her grades to straight A's and people looking at her as though she's probably a problem child when she's not, just to really prove them wrong.
Mhm.
And the fact that her mindset is just leadership right now has been like, just those are the results that we're looking for. And I know right now Ro is pretty much spearheading, and leading an initiative that we're having in the summer for like a block party. So even just watching her work in this role and just to be able to feel like, she's a sophomore in high school, but I trust her with this huge event. It's a good feeling.
Absolutely. And like that, like as you're mentioning, the wrongful accusation, things like that, that's like deep trauma, right? Like there's a reason why, she was feeling guarded, there's a reason why, you had to put that up, because it's like, how else are you going to protect yourself? But then also recognizing when certain things are either a power or a hinder to our lives, right? Because I think in a lot of ways, when we're wrong, that anger can be like really valuable because it's valid, it's deserved, right? But figuring out how to use that energy in the right direction, right, can make a whole difference for how that story ends, right?
Yeah, because a
Absolutely.
lot of the students, it just makes you think like how many students, if they didn't have an advocate, how many just get released to an alternative school or fall under the cracks, right? Because they're not listening to the child at the end of the day. And not only that, no one's holding the school system accountable for having her out of school that long, So I think it's important that the youth have someone, to speak up for them when it comes to things like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I feel like we often as adults do a disservice to adolescents. We do not hear them appropriately, and having a space where, you can be heard, I feel like can be life-changing when you're younger. Absolutely. So as far as like, you guys have so much going on, right? So do you have any upcoming events or initiatives? I know you mentioned the block party a little bit, but like, what do you guys have coming up that you definitely want everyone to hear about?
We have the block party, our gala, and our trip to Georgia.
Okay,
And
tell me. Keep going. Sorry. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about the gala.
Coach.
Okay, so the gala, it'll be on November 18th. We just secured a space for that. Pretty much just wanting to get, some fundraising going for those who want to support our initiative out here. So it'll be a really big deal. We'll be expecting about 500 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so it'll be a good turnout. And then we are also going to Georgia. So that's something we're currently fundraising for, just to help cover the cost of transportation, and also for those girls who may feel like they can't afford it, because it is like $100 per girl. So
yeah.
yeah, but I
And
want Ro to
now,
speak a little more too about the block party, because that's like our next thing coming up, and just the effort that we've done for it should be highlighted. Go ahead, Ro.
So the block party, it's going to be on July 1st. Me and one of my closest friends, Angie, are planning the block party, and Coach actually let me and Angie take lead on all of what we're doing. And basically, we wanted to like give back to the community and like the younger kids, and also the adults too, and teens. And we just wanted to also fundraise for our program at the same time while also giving back.
awesome. It's a lot of work, right? When you put together an event, and when you start thinking about outreach and food and music and everything, it's big. So no, that's really awesome that you guys are working on that together. It's going to be a nice growth learning experience for you. And then once you get a hang of something, you make it bigger and bigger. So you feel like, it's like once you get a handle on something, you just keep on going with it. So I'm excited to see how that can grow in this area. And now we're talking a little bit about the trip, and why don't you guys tell us a little bit more about where you're going when you get to Georgia and what that trip is for?
So the trip is held by an organization called Success Team, and they pretty much extended an invite for us to attend a 4-day conference called SLAY, and it stands for Success Leadership Academy for Young Women. So we will get there Thursday, and we will be staying on Augusta University's campus with the girls, and they will have, all their lodging, food, everything covered, materials, and they'll get a pretty much 4-day experience of what it's like to stay on a college campus and to pretty much do college readiness, career readiness, a little bit of entrepreneurship, and they'll also dig into some women's health type of topics as well.
Perfect. So if anybody is listening right now and has the opportunity to support, please consider heading over to their page and helping out their fundraising efforts right now. We really want to make sure we get as many girls as we can on that bus and on that 4-day experience, because like things like that can change a person's life and change the way you feel about being a part of the upper education experience. Sometimes just getting a foot in the door, seeing the campus, being overnight, and being able to really soak it in and not getting like a 2-hour tour where you're completely overwhelmed. You don't really get a good feel for things, right? We want everyone to feel this experience completely. So let's help them get that fundraising in for sure.
Yeah, and they can also find us. So if you are interested in donating, you can just check out our website at www.sagegirls.net.
Perfect. And so if anybody, wanted to get involved further beyond donating, are you guys accepting any volunteer help right now or other ways that people can get involved?
Yeah, and I mean, Ro can speak a little bit too about how we've seen volunteers, but if they are interested, usually they will either message me or send me an email. But she can kind of let you know a little bit what that looks like as far as volunteers for their programs.
Usually we have volunteers that come in and help us with our programs. Like on Thursdays, they have a thing where our program is based on what they came there for. Like we had something about who we are, and she basically let us come out and say who our inner selves was, and saying basically what we want to do and what we are, but it's who you are. That was the main question. And then it's like some people come in and sit in and see, like, get a feel of what the Sage Girls are and what we basically do, so they can see if they want to work with us.
Awesome. That's really good stuff. Yeah. So everybody, as you heard, if you think you're ready to get involved and put a hand in to help, please consider heading to their website right now. So Tatiana, what would you say to anyone who is dreaming of starting their own nonprofit right now?
It is a lot of work, but I think the best I could explain it is like motherhood. I feel like it's like the most rewarding, but it does take a lot of time and a lot of paperwork and a lot of behind the scenes action. Our assistant, actually, Kaya, she is kind of coming like under my wing for mentorship, and she's getting ready to launch her organization. So that's a big thing that's going to happen soon. And I mean, it's fun to be able to be, an inspiration to help and be able to pour into others so that we can continue to serve more and more youth. So it's just a lot of work. I think most importantly, your team is going to be your best bet there. So just be mindful of who you're working with, and just be passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah. And now you stepped out of an engineering role, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of like consideration, you could say at least stability, probably more in that type of a role. Did you have any worries or fears or anything in your heart that made you feel like no matter what, that this was the right thing to do?
No, I'm a strong believer in God, and I feel like if you do God's work, it'll follow. I think that, I mean, especially having a good family, and I mean, I still work. I'm at Fidelity Investments full time, so now I'm in finance, and just being able to have stability. I have a 1-year-old, well, a 2-year-old now, and I mean, God will make it work. And even for my daughter, it's a great community for her to have these girls. It's like aunts or big sisters, so it's just really community.
Absolutely. So, do you have any big future goals or plans for your organization that you want to share with us?
Big future goals. I mean, of course, 100% graduation rate for all of my girls. Scholarship for all of them. internships for all of them, and just opportunity is the goal, making sure that when they go into the workforce, and whether they want to be a CEO or, work for a corporate America, that they're respected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as we told you already, everyone, you can head to their website right now. Donate, please. Let's get the girls to Georgia. If you know any decent funding, you're a grant writer and you have some spare time, and you're willing to help out a wonderful organization, please consider Sage Girls. From either of you, Tatiana or Ro, is there any last things you would like to say to the audience before we head out today?
Oh, no, I mean, I just want to thank you for having this platform, and spreading awareness. And I definitely want to thank Ro. This is her first podcast. So definitely want to thank her for joining. And I think, a lot of people do this work, but people wonder, like, where is the funds going, or what are people really doing? And so to put the girls in the forefront and to put them in front of the media, I think it speaks volumes. So thank you, Ro, for being willing to come on here today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story and for all the passion and work you're putting back into your community, because you could have said, hey, I'm just going to think about me for the rest of your life. And you didn't. You said, I'm going to think about everyone else too. And that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you both for being on here today. And we are looking forward to all the incredible work that Sage Girls is going to do in the future.
Thank